You're going to want to check this out. The path to financial success. Do you remember the time when you were just dreaming of becoming an adult? How about all of the fun activities you were thinking you would do once you reach this phase of life? Well, you get to feel adulting more once budgeting becomes part of the conversation. Dividing the money you earn to pay for bills and expenses and have savings, we do not want to find ourselves in a situation where we are already in deep debt, right? As much as possible, we want to have triumphant financial life. We view personal finance as something challenging because of the different factors that must be considered. However, it does not need to be difficult, you see? In this video, I am going to share with you the basic guidelines not only for you to be financially stable, but also financially successful. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to learn more about wealth and get updates on our content. We are familiar with index cards as something used for offices and schools. Recipes or any information can be written in those. Oftentimes, they are used in labeling and organizing. But did you know that all it takes to create a prosperous financial future is one index card? Yes! Surely the 5 tips I have for you would fit in it. Through this video, I will serve as your guide on the pathway to being financially successful. Hopefully, the points I am about to share with you could at least help and give you ideas on managing your finances better. Are you ready? Let's get right into it. Number 5. Track your everyday expenses. Always keep track of your day-to-day expenses. In this matter, you would be able to anticipate how much you could save and how you would impose your style of budgeting, especially since in the end, it would be based on the situation that you have. With the help of technologies, you could use different applications or even a simple spreadsheet where you could just see the general perspective of your money's flow. In this way, you can avoid having debts. It would be extremely difficult to be in a situation where your debts are piling up. Especially along with this are its interests. It makes saving even more difficult. There would be little to nothing left in your income. A credit card is one of those with high interest rates, which is why you should be careful in using it for your expenses. If you were not still able to avoid having debts, there could be 2 methods of paying them off. We have Snowball and Avalanche. The 2 of them apply to most types of consumer debts. You have to list all of your monetary liabilities and pay them one by one. After paying one, you would move to another one, until such time that you no longer have your debt. Snowball focuses on the value of your debts. You begin paying the smallest ones until you could be able to afford to pay the more expensive ones, and interest is not taken into the equation here. Unlike the Avalanche, the debt that has the highest interest rate is prioritized and extra funds are used as payments. Some find that the latter more effective than the former. However, it would still be based on your context that you have. That is why you always have to consider the factors you have in your life, especially those that could be a source of bankruptcy. Number 4. Look for legitimate investments. Once your debts are all paid off and you still have extra money, you can start focusing on investing them. It is a risk you should be willing to take. It is an area of finance where you need to study, as it already involves the money you have worked for and there is no assurance of how it would go. Going back to credit cards, whatever method you apply in paying your debts, there are still benefits you could get. As long as you pay, there is a possibility that it would help your tax bill go down. As mentioned earlier, situations vary from one person to another. For others, there is a difference between paying using cash and using credit cards. Counting bills feels different than simple swiping. And honestly, this would also affect the perspective a person has on spending money. Stocks have recently trended more in various fields, Buying and selling stocks became some sort of investment for other people, especially since the current state of our technology made it possible. For those who have no idea what it is, the stock is a product or place that holds value and is available for distribution. If ever you are going down this road, it is suggested to not engage with individual stocks or trading to have a percentage of company ownership. With time being a valuable factor here, one wrong decision and it would be easier to lose than gain. Greater risk and preparation are required in acquiring individual stocks, especially with how the market quickly fluctuates. So, where are you going now? Well, it is suggested that you could focus instead on the index funds kept in your retirement accounts. Why? Because contributing to this account every year could reduce the tax obligations. If you ever choose not to use this, your gains or dividend taxes would be very expensive. So, this would be a major reduction to your supposed future savings. But do you know what is the best investment you could have? This may sound strange, but it would be debt. You just have to learn how to balance and pay them constantly, even with a minimum amount only. In this way, your tax bill lowers. Earlier, I mentioned that most people prefer the avalanche method. This is because almost any type of investment would only likely yield a lower return on your money compared to paying off high interest debt. With proper management, you could use debts as your leverage to increase an investment's profit. Number 3. Save something. Another one is not to fully consume your income. With the inflation of prices for different products, we would initially think that this is something we could not do. It seems impossible because most of us have not just enough income for our daily expenses. This is why many of us could not save and continuously have that kind of thinking. In their situation, the idea of saving seems to be a rainbow and unicorns. That is why it is advisable to set our priorities straight and start minimally, because honestly, in the long run, we would still be the ones to benefit from it. With emergencies happening, we would at least have a small fund that we could use. Truly, at first, it would not be a walk in the park, but you should know that it is possible. Though others suggested saving 10 to 20% of your gross income, you could start saving small first. It would not be bad to keep at least $5 to $10 every day and cut unnecessary charges. Remember that you have the freedom to explore and try different strategies that could help you achieve this first step. Try assessing the various aspects of your life and look for something where you could cut your expenses. As you adjust, you could then start focusing on the big things. Let us visualize numerically your major expenses. You could spend less money paying your bills if you could share them with someone. For example, if you live in a place where many rooms are available, you could divide the internet bill by the number of roommates you have. Instead of paying for the full, the value you spend would be split up. You could also try buying groceries that could suffice for a week if possible, even for a month. In this way, you could lessen your transportation expenses and also avoid the additional fees that the retail stores superimposed. Before we continue, if you want to make some quick cash, then you can click on the link in the description of this video. You can make some money fast with no experience required. Alright, let's get back to it. Number 2. Hire a financial advisor. It is suggested that you must have a fiduciary advisor. However, for me, this is a rule or step that not everyone could take. For those who do not have an idea who they are, these are professionals that could help you with how you could manage your money. By law, once hired, they are required to provide financial suggestions that would be considered in your best interest. They would be able to have access to your finances or assets. However, you have to pay them. I am not saying that you should have this type of person in your life because honestly, they would be a great help. However, not everyone could afford one. Since they are professionals and someone who would work under you, you must make sure that you have the budget for this type of expense. If this would not be an issue for you and you could see that you need one, just make sure that you have the right one and that could suffice your needs as a client. How about you? What is your opinion on having a fiduciary advisor? Do you think this is necessary, or is it something that could be considered later on? You could leave your thoughts in the comment section below so that we could see each other's stand regarding this matter. Number 1. Insurance now, then house later. Looking at the wider perspective of being an adult, it is almost everyone's dream of having their own house and secured insurance. You would not have to worry about paying rent every month and the money you will spend in case something happens. It would be a great relief once these aspects of life would already be covered. However, achieving them should not be rushed. Let us say that you currently have the exact money to buy a house and lot. You decided to spend every last of them because of the eagerness you have to own a property. But now, you do not have anything anymore, even cents. How would you be able to buy your necessities, maintain the house, and other expenses? It would be difficult to move forward, right? What if a disaster happens and suddenly destroys your house? Since you are not financially ready, you do not know how to restore all of it. This also goes with your insurance. With emergencies suddenly happening, this type of thing could help ease the problems we could have. We do not have the remote control to every event of our life, and you have to make sure that in some ways you are ready, like having proper insurance. If ever, God forbid, you suddenly became sick and needed some medical attention, the health insurance you have could cover some or all the expenses. They vary in types and the areas they could cover, and that is a great help already. We all aspire for the day to come when we do not need to worry about the amount of money we spend. It is so good to live a life where you have access to almost all of the important things you need. Being financially stable is a process that needs extra effort and wit. It may seem to be hard, but you can start small and slowly. It would still be considered progress and a little step closer toward your goal. As long as you do something about it, nothing is impossible for someone who has an ambition and aspires to be successful in life. However, the fears and doubts would not hinder you from becoming financially successful. In the end, you have the power to do whatever you think is fit for you. Well, that is all for this video. If you enjoyed this video, do not forget to click the thumbs up and subscriber buttons. Also, if you have any suggestions or anything related you want to share, leave a comment down below. Until next time, goodbye.